Thank you, Mr. Chair. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Secretary Carson. And I'm going to harp on the same thing because it is a crisis in this country, particularly in Nevada, which is affordable housing crisis. Nearly every community in this nation has an affordable rental housing crisis, and it's worse in Nevada. Families earning $30,000 a year are unable to find an affordable home. For every 100 extremely low-income families, there are only 15 affordable apartments. High rents are driving thousands into homelessness. Our waiting lists for public housing in Section 8 are in tens of thousands, with families waiting years for help. Yet, this is the second year in a row that this administration planned to eviscerate the already inadequate funding that we provide for affordable housing. Thank goodness Congress is the one that provides the funding and saw the need to ensure that we are shoring up those resources for affordable housing. But what I'd like to know, now that you have those resources, what is your plan to help us address the affordable housing crisis in this country?
You know, one of the things that has really impressed me as I've traveled around the country are places like Liberty Square. You may be familiar with that in Miami. One of the notoriously horrible public housing sites that through the public-private partnerships is going from 700 units to 1,600 and developing a complete holistic community. Those are the kinds of things that I like. You look at Eastlake in Atlanta, one of the most crime-ridden places with schools that were failing, and now one of the two top charter schools and a neighborhood that is flourishing and trying to, you know, keep people from the outside from coming in and taking over.
Thank you. And Secretary Carson, I don't mean to interrupt. I only have so much time. I'm talking about affordable housing, not just Section 8. I'm talking about housing for individuals that want to rent a home because they can't afford to purchase it and they can't even afford the rent.
Sure.
So what
Those are
you
affordable
doing?
housings
What
that I
is-
just talked to you
Right,
about.
and there's workforce housing that we need in this country that is not affordable as well. So talk to me about what HUD is specifically doing. What programs, what are you doing to address this need in our communities and working with our state and local communities?
One of the things that I think has been quite effective is our push to enhance Section 3 and make it more than just a suggestion.
What do you mean by a push to enhance?
Well, Section 3 has been on the books for 50 years, has been seldom used because it's easy for people to find excuses not to use it. So we are tightening that up to use it. And for example, I was in Chicago recently. An entire building was being redeveloped by Section 3 workers. They were incredibly proud of the work they were doing, but more importantly, they were gaining skills which allowed them to then move out, which made room for others.
So besides Section 3 housing and a push to enhance it, what else are you doing?
Well, we're trying to increase the number of units that are dealt with through the RAD program. This has proved to be incredibly effective. Other types of public-private partnerships, especially going to be enhanced through the Opportunity Zone with an enormous amount of infusion of private capital into these distressed areas.
Okay. So can I get a commitment from you that you will work with us on addressing affordable housing and specifically identify the programs within HUD and within your agencies that are geared towards addressing this issue?
I would be more than happy to do that. That's what we're trying to do.
Thank you. When you appeared before this committee prior to your confirmation, you promised me that you would make sure that lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people were not faced with discrimination. At your confirmation hearing on January 12th, in response to a question from Ranking Member Brown about some of the concerning comments you've made about LGBTQ people, you assured this committee saying, quote, "I would enforce all the laws of the land, and I believe that all Americans, regardless of the new things that you mentioned, should be protected by the law." But instead, you've continued to undercut provisions HUD's efforts to end discrimination. On July 6, 2017, I, along with 28 other senators, sent a letter to the department requesting that you reinstate resources that were on your agency's website that protect LGBTQ people from housing discrimination, and I still have not received a response. What's been the delay? Is it normal for your agency to take nearly 9 months to respond to 28 U.S. senators?
Well, first of all, we've finally got a general counsel in December. I don't know that you can have it both ways.
What does that mean?
That means you can't tell us to deal with this complex legal issue and not give us the people that we need to do it.
A complex legal issue that was already determined by legal counsel and the administration prior to you? You felt to make changes and then think that you need to have a second look at it?
A complex legal issue that must take into account the rights of all the constituents who are involved, and not just from one point of view.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about, but I would appreciate a rapid, quick response. Now that, are you saying you still need legal counsel before you can make a determination that you want to prohibit discrimination?
We have spent a lot of time talking about this issue since the general counsel has been there, and I think there's going to be something going back up very soon. We've already got something going up about the homeless children who are being affected. It's an issue that we're truly concerned about, but
Well,
it
you
has
should
to be
and we're all
done the
concerned
right
about
way.
it. Secretary Carson, I know my time is up. I appreciate the ranking member and the chair's indulgence. Thank you.